Hi, this is Natalie Lander, voice of Kinsey, Tara Branford, Stargirl, and many others. You are listening to a W2M Net podcast. You can visit W2Mnet.com for other podcasts about entertainment, video games, sports, and wrestling. You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Video Games to the Max. I am your host, Sean Garmer, and here with me, as always, Mr. Marc Morrison.
Howdy.
And, well, how was your Thanksgiving and all that?
It was okay. I ate pizza, my usual Thanksgiving tradition.
That's right, yeah, you do. I eat pizza.
But I was with my mom, and then today I went Black Friday shopping at 6 a.m.
How was that? Where did you go?
A local store, or local chain called Disc Replay. A whole bunch of DVDs that are dumb that I don't really need. And there's 3 more I want, but I don't have the money for them. It depresses me.
Well, you got a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could have not gotten that many and just got one of the ones you really wanted. Or...
Well, they had a good sale. It was buy 2, get 2 free. So I took advantage of that.
GameStop has, buy 3, get 1 pre-owned?
Yeah, that was on their games. That was on like PS4 and Xbox One games, I think. It's funny because this Disc Replay chain used to have, last year they had sales on games, either retro or current, but now they didn't have that this year. It was just Blu-rays and DVDs are on sale, and if you want a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X, that's kind of on sale, but that's about it.
Well, yeah. I mean, they weren't going to have the PS5 and Series X and S.
No, but they also carry SNES games and NES games, all the retro stuff. They didn't have anything on sale.
Oh, that's crazy. You'd think that they would find stuff to put on sale.
Yeah, at least buy one, get one or something like that, but nope.
Well, hey, at least you got some stuff.
Yep. How's yours?
Well, I had my birthday the day before Thanksgiving. And I had to work all 3 of those days, so I just got off work right now. It wasn't, anything spectacular. I will say, between Anaya and my girlfriend, they did a fantastic job of, decorating, and it was just her, the 2 of them and her dad. It wasn't anything, out of this world. I mean, you can't be having parties with the way things are at the moment, so, but my mom brought a cake, and then she had to go do things. I don't think I've said this on the podcast, but we finally, so our place where we live in is owned by my grandpa, but it's been in foreclosure for almost 10 years, due to the bank screwing him over and telling him that the way he could lower his interest rate on his mortgage, on the mortgage for the house, was stop paying for a couple of months.
That's how that works.
Yeah, and because of that, people stepped in and, then started making him fight it for, all these years. He's been able to fight against it, but this time he couldn't. And if it wasn't for the pandemic, we would have lost the house a long time ago. But because of the moratorium on evictions, and because of the courts being closed for a large period, until they figured out they could do the courts by Zoom, they basically were halted. And because apparently the house was sold off in a sale in January. And we had just got the letter, I think a couple of weeks ago, that they were officially giving us a deal that they'll give us $1,500, to move out by a certain date, and you don't get an eviction, which really helps you when you're trying to find an apartment.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my mom's been having to go find apartments, and so she couldn't be there for my birthday, but she did bring the cake, and yeah, but they had to plan it around my breaks, but I did get to eat pizza too, like you did. And I had the cake, and I got a bunch of shirts. When you're an adult, you usually don't get the fun stuff that you want as gifts. You usually have to buy that yourself. So
yeah, that's what I did.
that was my thing. And then Thursday I had to work. We didn't really do anything. girlfriend made a ham, and then we had chicken nuggets and macaroni and cheese and ham. That was the Thanksgiving. And then I tried to do the with your store there, Meijer. That's basically like Walmart, but a different brand, a different chain. They had PS5s go on sale at 12. Well, it was supposed to be 12:01. It kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. Then the line got paused, and then it was still 1 a.m., I think, and they still had not gone on sale. And I was just like, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to bed. And apparently when I woke up at like 8, my turn was at like 5:23. There was no way I was going to stay up that late.
Well, that just shows you didn't want it, man. Come on.
No, I'm sorry. You know what? A lot of ups for the people that are dedicated enough to go to a game. I saw one guy, apparently his wife was awesome enough to tag him in and out the entire 37 hours or 40 hours, I think, that he eventually wound up being there. I was like, that is insane. I'm sorry. Almost 2 whole days standing outside a GameStop to get a PS5 right now.
It's worth it.
Sorry. I don't know.
The store I was at, I mean, I got up at 6 a.m. because the disc replay was going to open at 7, and it was barely a half hour away. And I went out there, and I was the only person in line. Like, one other dude showed up, and that was about it. But there was a GameStop, 4 stores down, is in a strip mall, and they had 35 people in line.
Why 35 people? Are they that dumb? They think that 20 people are gonna eventually walk away?
Yeah, and some clerk came out of GameStop, and it's we only have two of each console, 2 of each SKU. So 2 PS5 discs, or, with disc drive, 2 without disc drive, and then 2 of each Xbox, and that was it. And it's at that point, wouldn't you just leave? Or
yeah, it's what are y'all can't all go in the store at the same time either because of COVID. So what are y'all gonna do? Stand out there and try to hustle the guy when he comes out? I mean,
yeah, or just jump him.
I guess, but I'm pretty sure they probably walk the guy to the car.
Yeah,
that's usually how that works now. Yeah, I'm guessing you saw the one with the people that brought the mattress.
Yeah.
And slept right by the door. That must have been fun for the GameStop people.
Yeah, to walk around them as they're going in and out of the store.
I wonder if anybody, I mean, most people are respectful when you're doing the whole waiting in line thing. I went through it with the Funkos. I did that to get the Pikachu the first time they ever had Pokemon Pops. I went with Anaya. We went at 6 a.m. to a Target. And I wound up being the last person in line to get one because they only allowed 1 per group.
Yeah.
So, but still, the whole point was they were actually respectful of, okay, we know that this guy got here before me or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So, and that's with Target, you have to walk all the way to the back of the store. It's not like GameStop where it's right there. So,
yeah, I had to do that when I was buying Mario 3D All-Stars at Walmart.
Really?
I was always, yeah.
It was that crazy?
No, but they didn't have a line. They're just open.
Yeah.
So
well, yeah.
Once they open the doors, there's a mad scramble to get to the electronics section, which is always in the back of those Walmarts. So
yeah, I did also try to do the Walmart one that was a Thanksgiving morning. And that was insane. I know some people apparently got them because apparently if you would have, I did wait, but I guess they didn't wait long enough. Apparently at 9, they were supposed to go live at, was it 9 Eastern?
Yeah.
And literally within 3 seconds, it would already give you problems trying to add to cart. And then it didn't matter what I did. It wouldn't do anything. I kept refreshing. And then it said out of stock at 9:03. And I said, okay, well, that's it. And I tried. And apparently, 2 minutes later, somebody said that they waited until 9:05. And then apparently it let them add to cart. And they got it. And I was like, well, okay, damn.
We should have tried
for
that.
Next time.
Or try the mobile app. Sometimes that works better.
Yeah, I didn't think about that until it already said out of stock. And then, yeah, I was just like, well, I know for next time. It's just, like I said originally, Marc, Meijer store all of a sudden, and they had a queue though, and it was just, it's crazy. GameStop does that too, and Sony's direct site does that too, and it's just, I think it's good to try to keep the bots out or whatever. I do like Myra was really on it. They were constantly telling everybody, I know there's probably people here shopping for other Black Friday deals, but if you're for PS5, make sure that you are going to this site and going to this. And it's like, okay, y'all are really wanting to let people know.
Yep. Which is
we'll
good
see.
Because they're getting rid of Blu-rays and movies and games at the actual store, so they might as well have one last hurrah.
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't blame them at all, man. If you can do it, then do it. It felt like Kmart. One year we had a bunch of TVs to give on a Black Friday. The next year we had nothing.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is a waste of... It was like they still had us there for Black Friday, even though we had no electronics. And I said, why the hell are you even bothering? People do not... Like, most people, I mean, yes, they do come in for clothes and like, kitchen stuff and whatever, but, like, most people, if they're coming to a store for a Black Friday, they're coming for the electronics.
Yeah, they want to get, like, a 40-inch TV for $100 or something like that.
Yeah, it's like, y'all are nuts. I did reward myself with a $120 TV. It's not anything fancy. It's a 32-inch like Fire TV, but we needed one for the room. The one thing I got, aside from like a bunch of Blu-ray crap and DVDs, I bought a Game Boy Advance flash cart. Oh, you got that thing, huh?
Yeah.
So what can you put that into a?
Well, I can put it into a Game Boy Advance, but I have this like weird GBA TV thing. I could probably use it for that.
Oh,
and also
okay.
that analog pocket will be useful. We'll play that just fine.
Oh, I'm guessing it like has every GBA game on it or something.
It will.
Oh, okay. I thought it came pre-installed. With...
No. That's how to get around it. But I mean, yeah. Oh, I also one of the more dumb but awesome things I did. I traded in my analog Super NT to a disc replay for a different analog Super NT they had.
Why did you do that?
Because I had the Super Famicom one, which had which was like dark gray and like darker gray buttons, and I traded that one in for the all black version. It looks cool.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, you should get to keep the same thing.
Yeah, it's basically, I paid him $20. It was basically, but an even swap. So all right, I had no problem. If they had the see-through one, I would have lost my mind. I would have definitely done that.
Oh, that's awesome.
But these things go for like. They used to be for $200, but now they're so out of stock, you can get it for like $400. Like, they're selling it for $400. eBay is like $600 or $700. It's nuts.
Damn.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
I was going to say enough of the shopping spree on my end.
Yeah, the only other thing I did was get Aegis Rim as part of the first PS4 sale. I know they had a different Black Friday sale on actual Black Friday, but I didn't check that out because I was just like, I'm going to wait until we're done with all of the Cyber Mondays and all that, when they probably won't release PS5s for a while. Because apparently there's rumors going around that Walmart's going to do it again for Cyber Monday. We'll see.
Right.
And if not, then I'll see if there's a sale. But I haven't gotten far at all in Aegis Rim. I played through all of Kurabe's story, the first story, and then I got through the half of she has a weird name, so I can't remember.
The first girl?
Yes. Jens is probably going to listen to this and be like, come on, guys. She has a name. But yeah, that's as far as I gotten, because I actually have to be at my mom's house for that. So it's not like the Xbox where I can actually do remote play, and I've been playing a lot of Yakuza because I can play that when the calls have been super slow the past 2 days. So I'm not looking forward to, I'm sure on Monday it's going to start regular, but, they actually made us go home early, or they told us to log off early on Thanksgiving because the calls were slow the entire day. But yeah, so I've gotten to play a lot of Yakuza. I'm in like chapter 7. And that's with me knocking out like every single side thing I can find as well. I think it says I've logged about like 35 hours or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, the reason I'm doing it is because I've heard that there is a really, really bad level grind that you have to do when you get towards the end. And I was like, I'd much rather do it early on and not have to all of a sudden grind for 20 levels because I was trying to mainline, that's the one thing that sucks about RPGs sometimes is you're trying to mainline to review them, but the game doesn't really let you do that.
Yeah. That's how Valhalla is also.
Oh yeah, I've heard Valhalla's been getting a lot of bad press between screen tearing on Series X and then people saying that Ubisoft purposely made the PS5 version worse because Microsoft did something. Like,
I would
come
say
on, guys.
people are just being pedantic or conspiracy theory nonsense.
Yeah, it's like maybe it is that they might have messed up and made it worse on accident, but they didn't do it because Microsoft went in and said, hey, we paid you for that promotional thing. You need to make the PS5 one worse. Like, folks, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't benefit Ubisoft to make one version worse over the other, especially when Sony's console is selling way more than Microsoft. Well, we don't really know that, but, you know.
Well, Microsoft won't share sales data, so.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's not like Microsoft's doing bad. Every time the Xbox comes out, they sell out too. But, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, that being said, since we're on that tinge, let's just get through this stuff here. Marc has been, as Marc mentioned on the last show, he did get a review code for Shadowlands, World of Warcraft Shadowlands, so he'll talk about that in a little bit here. But, so Sony did reveal this is an official, like, sales data, right? This is an official PlayStation Twitter account, sorry. Yeah. So, they said that they have, in the first 2 weeks, outsold the initial sales of the PS4, which that's not too surprising, I think.
Right.
I mean, they said that they have sold that at this point, PS4 had sold 2.1 million units in 2 weeks, which is already pretty amazing in itself. There is thought that they have sold apparently 2.5 million units in these 2 weeks, the PS5. So, very much like what Xbox announced we talked about last time, Sony's basically doing the same thing, that they have outdone, their previous generation. Yeah.
Everything in the past, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. It feels like every time there's an announcement about, one of the consoles going live or something, they are, yes. Oh, and I forgot to mention, even Dell was doing orders of PS5s. Freaking
they
Dell.
Always dabble in console sales, and yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, people are just nuts for these consoles right now, and Sony is the one that has games that you can definitely want to check out. So I don't blame people for really wanting the console. Obviously with the exclusives that that they have, you can trust them further down the line as well. But that's good for Sony. Something that's maybe not great, but I feel like they're well within their right to do it, is apparently there are people, and this seems to be happening more in Hong Kong than, let's say, in the United States or in other places. Right now, anyway, we don't know if that's been a thing in other places. It just seems to be Hong Kong is the major place where this is happening, where people have figured out that you can actually unlock the PS Plus collection on PS4s. If you have already signed in with a PS5 account on your PS4, you can apparently unlock it on PS4s. So, yeah, there's obviously people that have been like telling their friend, hey, you can use my login and you can go ahead and unlock the PS Plus collection. But apparently in Hong Kong, people are selling this ability on eBay and other places.
Not surprising at all.
No, it's not surprising at all. People will do anything to make a little bit of money, especially with what's going on right now. But, I mean, yeah, this is a little bit, and they're apparently getting banned for this. So your PS5 account gets banned for a while, and then your PS4 account gets banned. So this is like basically being banned from any online services. So if you bought your game on disc, it's not a problem. I don't know how that works if you have to connect to the internet at all.
You're screwed, probably.
Yeah, you're screwed. And the PS4s that were involved, like the ones that were used to log in, they're getting their accounts banned for 2 months. So the entire holiday season, you would not be able to play anything that requires... Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully, they learn from this experience and don't do dumb shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's the people that... I love the people that eventually, will get mad and say, well, now I'm worried, Sony can just do whatever they want. We don't have control over our games and whatever. And it's like,
my response would be like, all right, then turn in your PlayStation 5 and don't play it, you know?
Well, no, like, I do think in a certain way, like, all those games that are on that PS Plus collection have been part of PS Plus in the past, number one. Number two, like, how much money are you really getting out of these games at this point that you couldn't have just made that available on the PS4 anyway? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I do get that point of, like, why didn't you just go ahead and make that backwards compatible? Because they want to give some incentive so people will buy the PS5. I get that. I certainly do. But I don't think that having that on your PS4 is going to make people not buy the PS5. It's selling out like crazy. It's like, you know, like, I mean, I don't know how much work it would have to go into it for them to do that now. I mean, I can understand when, in the first couple of weeks when the PS5 was coming out, obviously you don't want people doing that. But I don't know. I feel like unlocking that eventually wouldn't be a bad thing. I mean, the newest game on there is what, Days Gone?
Yeah, probably.
How much money are people really buying Days Gone at this point?
Apparently they are, because people are selling this access, so...
Well, yeah, I mean, but I don't know that they're doing it for just Days Gone. I mean, look at all the games that are in that thing that you get. I mean, so, that you didn't get to play before. So, I mean, just an idea for Sony, if you're really considering at all, and it wasn't just Jim Ryan blowing hot air so he can get press coverage for a while. If you really are considering a Game Pass alternative, something like this would certainly help push that, is making that PS Plus collection available on both systems. But yeah, that's something to, I guess, keep your eye on how that goes. And also, the PlayStation Plus games got announced for December. The one PS5 game is Worms Armageddon, which is a battle royale version of Worms.
I've never liked Worms. I don't know about you, but
I liked the Worms that was on. Was it the Dreamcast?
That was still Armageddon, I think.
No, it's called something else. But like, I remember my friends played that a lot. We played that together.
That was Armageddon.
Was it?
This one, yeah. Okay, they keep recycling that damn name over and over.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't like it that much, but my friends liked it. It was something that when we got tired of Halo and other stuff that they would start playing, yeah. I
understand the appeal of Worms, but I'm not good at it. So that's one issue I have. And then, I find it just too chaotic or too random, really.
Fair enough, yeah. And then Rocket Arena is also on there for PS4, which is another, like, Battle Royale type thing. And then Just Cause 4, which you reviewed. Didn't like that much, but it's a fine game.
Nope.
Some people liked it, though.
They broke Just Cause. That was my issue with it, so...
Maybe there won't be another Just Cause game for a while after we keep hearing those rumors of Square and the Western IPs.
Yep, that's what I want.
And then, of course, Xbox Games for Gold, which I should again iterate that is really gone downhill with the existence of Game Pass. Raven Remastered. Sure. Bleed 2, we actually have a review of on the site. It's actually a pretty decent just bullet hell game. There's nothing wrong with it, but sure. And Saints Row Get Out of Hell, which I don't know how you feel about that.
You get to play as Kinsey, and that's cool. But the expansion is I thought it was like pretty slight. And that's like the Xbox 360 version. Like it's not the Xbox One version. So it's like, alright, cool. Yeah.
And stacking, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's fine. So, that's your free stuff for December, which is cool. I mean, hey, at least they're putting PS5 games out there, so.
Yeah, I thought it was funny about Rocket League, or Rocket Arena, because I was like, wasn't that already free at some point? Like, yes.
I mean, I don't blame Sony for doing stuff like that, because it does give those games, some publicity. So, they're doing that with Destruction All-Stars in February. We'll see what happens in January, but yeah, so far, outside of Bugsnax, they're going with the multiplayer stuff right now to get people going. Well, how is that World of Warcraft Shadowlands?
It's interesting, but kind of weird. So the crux of this game is you start from like level 50, because they switched all the levels from the last ones, to get to 60, but they added no new spells or no new talents for all the classes. So it's like, I hit like 53, and it's like, oh, I'm a mage, so it's like, oh, my, presence of mind can do one more arcane blast, and I'm like, okay, like, that's not great, like, but sure, I guess. The whole concept of this game is like, the expansion is like, you have to join a covenant. That's like the new kind of like like there's 4 covenants, and it's basically like, which group do you want to belong to? Like these blue guys, undead guys, vampires, and some other, I think elves are like the 4th one. And they each have like different abilities and different bonuses, but it's all introduced like at the end of the expansion. And so to get to that point, you have to play through all these covenant storylines. Like I already did the first one, which is like the blue guys, which is like you're in some like conformist version of heaven. And now I'm in the undead, or like I think it's undead. I'm not quite sure. And it's like, all right, I guess, but making this covenant decision at the end of this expansion, or at the end, like once you hit 60, is kind of strange because it just prolongs what's going on. Like it's like, can you just move this along, please? Like I want to play through all of these stupid stories that kind of don't matter. Let's be honest here.
What, you don't care about that WoW lore at this point?
No, they don't care about that WoW lore at this point. Like, so, I mean, it's still good. You know, it's kind of fun now because people are playing again for at least a little while. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think when I stopped playing, I was like level 55 out of 60. Yeah, it's all right. I mean, it's WoW. It's a 16-year-old game. Like, nothing's changed for me that much in my time playing off and on over the years, except I have to like figure out how to put. I only have like 40 available slots on my screen because I don't like go like super crazy like some people, and I have to try to figure out like where to put all these new abilities in my action bars and stuff. That it's like I'm running out of buttons here. Like, can we start doubling these up some? But yeah, it's all right. I wish I had someone to play it with. Like that's one of the problems with playing that game is I'm extremely alone, so I get nothing out of it, the social aspect at all, other than like occasionally helping someone or them helping me. But it's not like a formalized thing.
Well, that's not great. Yeah, because a lot of what is great about I'd
rather play it like a basically a single player game, you know.
Yeah, I mean, then also you're not caring so much about the story stuff, so.
I mean, it's fine, but it's hey, the bad undead woman from the past 2 expansions is, hey, she's still bad and she's still around. It's like, okay. Like, there's so little story momentum in those expansions. It either all happens at the beginning of the expansion or the end, and that's it.
Well, I mean, so like that's the only new stuff. It's not
that I've seen. Yeah, pretty much. Like the last one, Battle for Azeroth, that really ticked people off, like with the whole necklace thing, like your artifact gear. That's pretty much gone, and so is like some of the stupider things from that game, which is nice. But this is much more of a linear experience, also. Like this kind of feels like a single player game. You're just playing with other people.
Is that better or worse?
Well, I mean, that depends, because it's better in one respect because like it actually feels kind of like the story makes more of an impact, but it's worse because if you don't like where you are, then it becomes a slog, or there's not really an element of player choice that I've seen.
Well, but I mean,
WoW is still WoW, forever will be. Although two of the funnier aspects is during cutscenes, I have subtitles on just so I don't have to like listen to it really that well.
Yeah.
During cutscenes, when music starts, it will say like it will have in hashtags like dramatic music playing. It's like that could have been done a slightly better probably. And they got rid of, at least for this one, they don't have like full motion videos anymore. It's like these like weird comic book style like storyboards. And it's like, did they run out of money? What's going on here? Like, you guys used to have like...
Wow, that's how you know it's really gone.
Yeah, you guys used to have like scripting, characters and, scripting and stuff like that. Like, there's not a ton... Like, I only saw one so far. It was like the backstory to this orc woman. But yeah, it's all like comic book... I mean, they were well done, but it was like full motion comics. I'm like, what happened? Like, you guys used to have production value is the belt really tightening that much at Blizzard from Activision? Like,
yeah, that's nuts, man.
Yeah, but other than that, it's all right. You find anything else fun? How's your Hades game?
Oh well, I mean, I'm getting the hang of it. Again, I'm not the biggest roguelike person, so
yeah.
It's something to get used to. I'm not used to playing a lot of games where you're making runs and then you're continually like improving yourself every time. But also I think it's a lot of these games like just don't have this, it kind of gets old after a while. Whereas like with Hades, I just love the world that it's in and like the aesthetic around it and all the things with the different gods that show up and they also feel very random. So like, I've gotten from getting Ares at the beginning of one run and then Poseidon showing up later to, you get some of the lesser gods like Dionysus and, Aphrodite. And so like, it's cool that, all that is in there with just the look of the game, the art of the game is pretty fantastic. And then, it's a top-down like view, so it's not, this like it's like they look very small, especially playing on. I play portable. I don't play on my TV, so I don't know if it looks any different on TV or not. But yeah, I like the enemies look cool too, and just I've only gotten to Megara, so I haven't been able to beat her. I got to the point where she was like 1/4 health and then killed me. But I've been able to unlock, I unlocked the shield thing that you can throw like Captain America's shield. And then it's cool because you can knock it into enemies and then it'll rebound to other enemies that are like around it. So that's fun. And of course getting to unlock different, depending on which god you find, during that run. Like, when I got Poseidon and I was able to just add another like extra effect that just like knock dudes out, and then Dionysus does that thing where it makes them I guess it's confused would be the it's hungover, but it's like they don't really move that much, so it was like really helpful to just knock enemies out. I hate the frickin' the cubes that shoot the lasers or whatever, because I think I've got one kill and then it still has some life and it shoots a laser and like 10 of my health go away. I'm like, dang it.
Well, don't step on the platform, the trap platform for the pressure plate then. Oh yeah,
well no, definitely. I figured out how to avoid those, but it's just those, cause the witches are no big deal. Those other guys that like move around as soon, like they jump towards you as soon as you, get near them. Like, those were annoying at first, that I figured out how to, like, just, dash away or...
Yeah, it's all about, like, learning the enemies and then figuring out, like, what's the best method to deal with them.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I like about it. Like, you feel like you're learning from dying, which isn't great in every game, I would say. But in Hades, it does work. And you feel like you're improving yourself, too,
Well, like, the dying is how the story gets propelled, like the momentum on the story, so...
Yeah, that's true, too. Like, some of the quips that Hades gives you are pretty nasty. Like,
yeah.
I'm just like, alright. And then I like the fact that he gives them right back, too. So,
yep.
And you can pet Cerberus for the people that care about the petting the dog thing. So
yeah, he's fun.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. We'll see if I can get past Megara and get through more of the story by the next time. But yeah, I mean, my main game is still Yakuza, and that game is super hilarious still. And I love the business management game in this one. So I think the only difference between this one and I think it's Zero is that because it's not set in the 80s, is you don't get to pocket the money that you make from the company. You have to actually, all the money that gets made by the company goes back into either those companies or the companies behind you, or like the companies that you buy afterwards. And
I think it like eventually gets funneled into your bank account somehow, or you buy upgrades or something. But
Well, you do
like
buy upgrades, but it like just upgrades the company, like how much you can sell, and
it's not like a direct 1-to-1 like it was in E0, but
yeah,
you do eventually somehow get some money.
Well, you do like okay, so but I don't know that translates to like the money you make in the regular part of the game. Like he does get like bigger bonuses. Like the more you go through the boardroom, the shareholder meetings.
Yeah.
The more bonuses he gets. So those are fun. And then also like one of the characters that you get is tied to that game. So you have to, if you want to continually get higher bonds with that person, which is taken from, I don't know if that's in any of the games, but it's definitely Persona-esque. And you have to actually keep playing that game and get better at that game. So,
right.
And I do like that character. That character seems pretty good at fighting with the weapon that person has, at least at killing like a lot of the, basic enemies and everything. And for being like 5 levels less than your other enemies.
Yeah.
Or your other, party members, she's still, that character kicks ass. I'm trying not to spoil here. So, I like, so far I also feel like I might, the two jobs that you get from the DLC, maybe you're not worth it. So people should definitely, if you're one of those that buys a bunch of, I don't feel like they really help.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I could make it too game breaking. I mean,
well, yeah, I understand, but it's like maybe you just have to get really far in order to get like the weapons for them. But like right now, I just got the bond levels and the actual levels to be able to unlock both of them. And yeah, they kind of seemed really underpowered at the moment. Cause it's also like, it's not just your level, it's also the crafting is a big deal. As you know, in RPGs, usually it is. So like you do really need to build up that crafting, shop that's in the game, because the weapons that you craft are a lot more powerful than the ones that you're gonna buy, unless you just somehow make a bunch of money, which they do. I mean, it doesn't take long to like refill your coffers fighting all the enemies that show up all the time, but you do have to like invest in order to gain levels, which is different than, a lot of games you build up the crafting by crafting. In this game you don't. So you have to like give her money to level up your, it's a pretty sizable chunk too, so you have to like keep going back and giving her money. So I've only gotten to level 2. There's been like 4 levels for that, and yeah, I mean, I like how the story goes so far. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, but those bond things for that you go into the bar are very, they all have an arc and they eventually max out. So like I've already maxed out 2 of the 3 of the characters. So it doesn't take long to do if you're doing it consistently. But yeah, I feel like they definitely Atlas got some push in there from Persona and other things. I don't know if that's in the other games or not. Is it?
No.
Okay.
You don't really have relationships with people in like Yakuza 6 that much, or like the other one for sure. Like they're much more disposable, or you just kind of for story focused.
Kiryu is much more of a lone wolf, right? He's not trying to have a party. He's not trying to bring unity or anything. So it makes a lot more sense. I just like the fact that they brought that in, and it does feel like you're learning a lot more about those characters. So
yeah.
I appreciate that on that end, and still Ichiban is awesome. So, if there was a Character of the Year award in games, I think he'd have to be pretty high up there. Anything else have you gotten any farther in Aegis for him, or?
No, I mean, I'm at the 3rd character. That's where I stopped playing, of the prologue chapters, which will probably be 13 characters long knowing that game.
Well, isn't that the whole point?
No, the other thing is, Valhalla is still destroying my soul, but that's about it.
Why is it destroying your soul?
Because it's so big, and, I barely playing Shadowlands, and I have like 2 or 3 other games to review as well.
Well, I mean, can you mainline that, or is that like Yakuza where you really do need to do the extra stuff, or?
Well, the one thing I did is I turned assassinations completely on. Like, it's not level dependent anymore. So I can really take out some higher level characters if I'm stealthy about it. But like certain, like you didn't play God of War, did you? Or did you not?
I played some God of War and I didn't play a bunch.
Did you ever make it to a Valkyrie fight?
Yes, I did,
They have those in Valhalla. Like,
nice.
straight up. Like, they're even, like, mystical. Like, I faced one of them, and this is much more of a gear check. Like, she was, like, I think she's, like, 160, I'm, like, 112. So she can, I can actually whittle it on pretty well, but, like, at the halfway point, she, like, basically destroys me. And I think, like, the highest enemy I've seen, or the highest level, is, like, 340. And it's like, alright, good luck with that. But the funny thing is, your actual gear isn't tied to your item, or your, like, character level. Like, you get points so frequently in that game. Everything you do gets you at least 1 point or skill point. But yeah, it's fun. I mean, I probably could mainline it more, but I think it's still gated by like, oh, you're too low level to go to this area, or like you'll get one shotted by a boss, like, or a random soldier like which that's not particularly fun, but I think it's a smaller world than Odyssey and Origins, which is good.
Well, I mean, that's good at least, yeah, because the other ones were so gigantic,
Yeah, they were they were too big. This one, it's still too big, but it's not completely overwhelming. Although, like I think I said mentioned last time, like once you do a synchronization, like the map spinning thing, when you're on top of on like a tower, all these icons like burst from the earth, and it's like, oh my god, there's like 30 things to do in this one area. Please kill me.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I'll say about Yakuza. Like, this apparently, like, in Chapter 7, because something big happens, like, all of a sudden now you get another part of the map that you can go to, and it does feel bigger, but at least, like, you can definitely see the side stories, and there's only, like, a few. It doesn't feel like, oh my god, the whole map got cluttered all of a sudden with stuff. So, that's why I do appreciate, like, you definitely feel like this is certainly doable before you go to the next story thing. Right. And like I said, you can, like, so what I was complaining about last week, like, okay, so after this event, the characters certainly do level up around you. Well, if you stay in those areas around where the event happened, if you go back down, then yeah, you go back to those same enemies you were fighting before. But yeah, it doesn't feel like this. It definitely feels like, okay, there's a challenge now, like, oh shit, I might die. And then, Yakuza's the same thing as Persona. If your main character dies, you're done.
Yep.
So, you have to be, very careful you have to make sure Kasuga doesn't die. The other ones can die and you can revive him or whatever, but Kasuga cannot, die. So I have that sacrifice stone on him where if he dies, he immediately revives. So I never had him go through that, because the cool thing is that's why I think a lot of people like to pick one job and just stick with it. This game, you really should play around with the jobs, because there's certain jobs that he can get that he keeps some of the abilities he doesn't. But, so you don't have this like overwhelming list of stuff that you're going to get eventually. Like, you just get to keep some of the moves from the other characters. Yeah. The other jobs that you have. But like, he gets like some healing moves that are great because it can heal the whole party. And so, cause I played around with a lot of the jobs until I figured out, oh, okay, this is the one that's really meant to be for him. But plus you get to see all their different outfits, which is hilarious. So like trying to see, this guy that starts as a homeless guy, like all of a sudden be a freaking breakdancer is hilarious. It's just really funny. It looks so weird. But yeah, no. Just really enjoying that game. Just, God, it feels like you're playing for a long time because you run into so many enemies and so many things to do. But it's fun. I ran into the golf game the other day, like yesterday or whatever, and I was like, God, it feels like you just never. They pack this thing up with so many minigames, and that's without going to the arcades and playing like the old games and stuff. Between the karaoke, the golf, the kart racing,
it's a Yakuza game.
Yeah, there's so much in there. I was like, wow, no wonder everybody just plays this for hours and hours and hours. But yeah, so there's not, I would say, like a ton of substantive news that like these huge, topics to talk about. I mean, this is kind of like I think until we really get any kind of news on how the consoles are doing outside of, well, we outdid our previous console, or maybe the the MPDs for November.
You'd hope they would. If you go back, it's probably not a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly hope if you're not outdoing the last one, then, especially with the way these things just keep selling like crazy. But, yeah, there's not a ton of stuff. I mean, we do have 2 big games still, Immortals Phoenix Rising and Cyberpunk, which is definitely now coming out. And then...
It'd be funny if it got delayed by like a day.
Yeah, it'd be like, yeah, it's now coming out December 11th or 12th, so you gotta wait 2 more days. Like, oh, really? But yeah, no, then that's pretty much it, I think.
Yeah.
And then there's the Age of Calamities, apparently shipped 3 million units already, which is insane. I mean, the power of Breath in the Wild and Zelda.
Well, that's a Switch's only game, so
yeah, I mean that's their holiday game,
Yeah.
So don't blame them at all there. But I mean, hey, it's good that it's selling though. It's good that it is doing well.
Yeah.
So, well, let's I guess get into that small amount of news. Watch Dogs Legion. We talked about Valhalla's issues already, but Watch Dogs Legion's like multiplayer. Component has been delayed because they're trying to fix issues with the single player.
That game doesn't need multiplayer. So it's like, they've crammed multiplayer in the past 2 Watch Dogs games, and it's like, please don't. Like, it's not good. Just stop.
So, like, what could the multiplayer be, or do you know what the multiplayer is going to be for this?
I think they mentioned something about group hacking or, like, doing group shit. I imagine it's just going to be the same as the other ones, where, like, someone can hack into your game, and you have to, like, find them in a small area, and they have to, like, pretend to be an NPC, but really they're hacking you, so it's all about, like, figuring out the right person, or, just that type of stuff. But it's like, that's not particularly fun. Like, it's fun, like, once, I guess, but, it's not, like, that integral. And after, like, 1 or 2 times, it's like, alright, I kind of just want to play alone now, because if these guys are going to keep bugging me, it's not too much fun.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, I don't know why they keep trying to force it in there. Like, they stopped doing that with Assassin's Creed after a while. I think they had, like, two online games, and they're like, alright, we're done.
Yeah.
But, like, the issues for Legion sound bad. Like, saves are deleting, and, like, you're losing progress, and it's like, that's kind of gnarly.
Still have the thing where it won't automatically load your saves, so you have to hope that you saved it into the cloud, and...
Yeah, I had to do that.
Like, that's not great.
Yeah.
I mean, some games are still having the issue with the PS4 version gets downloaded, even though you don't want that.
Yeah.
And
Speaking of, like, gnarly games, I've heard Call of Duty's, like, Cold War is getting worse.
Yeah, it's crashing. It's crashing Series X's now. It's still doing bad stuff for the PS5.
Yeah, I have someone on Twitter, and a friend on Twitter, and she was like, the Cold War just crashed my Xbox, and, like, it broke it. Like, you can't recover it. And I was like,
wow,
that's bad. Like, and ironically, she works for Microsoft, or works for at least 343.
That's not great.
Yeah.
Like, maybe Activision needs to fix that if it's crashing your game. I mean,
that bad. Yeah. It's like, all right.
I will say the only issue I've had is only with remote play, where I forget that during certain apparently, like, okay, you can leave it on the pause menu and it'll stay on with no issues, but if you leave it on pause during a fight or during a cutscene, it apparently decides that you aren't playing it, so it'll shut it off. And I think Jens posted a picture of it on Twitter.
Yeah,
it does that thing where, your controller, you need to press A. Well, I haven't had that problem when I played on the actual console, but like on remote play, like every 2 or 3 times, it'll just get stuck.
Yeah.
And it won't do anything after I press A. And like, so I have to manually close it, which I will give, the devs a lot of credit. They have a wonderful autosave system. It basically autosaves for after everything. So you don't have to worry about like really losing progress, but it's still annoying because you have to manually close it. And then lately, I actually have to restart the entire system when I do that. If I have to manually close it because of the stupid thing that it does where it gets stuck on the A button. I have to reset the system because then it won't load the game. It'll load it'll load any other game on my console. It just won't load that game. So then I have to reset the system. It'll load.
Yeah, Jens is dealing with that with Yakuza as well. Like, basically, he can't put it in suspend, or else it does, like, basically not work anymore. He has to restart his Xbox, and it's like, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's weird too. It's like, it doesn't do that if you have it on the pause menu where you can go and actually mess with stuff. But if you have it pause where it just says pause during a fight or during a cutscene, it does that.
Yeah.
It's weird. So, yeah, make sure you watch, I guess, all your cutscenes and don't get stuck on a fight while you're in Yakuza. But for me, I don't really get to choose when. It's like, okay, man, crap, I gotta hit pause. And then, yep, I might come back and it decided, well, you didn't unpause it, so you're screwed now.
Yep.
So yeah, welcome to next gen where you get problems, with your game. But other than that, I've had no issues with my Series X, honestly. So I'll say, I got lucky.
The only issue I've had with my PS5 was Call of Duty, so.
Yeah, it's true. Y'all both had the issue with Call of Duty.
Losing progress and then freezing, which is a nice twofer.
That's just weird, man. Like, you think Activision would have made sure, but they also, I guess, rushed it out because they wanted to make sure it was out during this period. So,
yeah.
Even though they could have easily waited a couple of weeks and people would have still been stoked for it.
Had to be out launch day.
It is what it is, I guess. So, Square Enix had a good side and a bad side of this week. One of them was Marvel's Avengers is yet to turn a profit. So, I mean, we already talked about this before, that one of the major things of why their financials were not great was because Avengers had lost them money, but now they're even at a bigger loss. They lost around 7 billion yen, which is, 67 million for 3 months?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Which a lot of it has to do with Avengers, and Avengers not selling well. Again, this is why I think the thing with these live service games is if they don't do well at the beginning, unless you're... And look at what Destiny's having to do. A lot of that stuff had to be... I mean, they're doing well because they're in Game Pass now, and...
or going to free-to-play help.
or going to free-to-play, and it's like, that's... that's stuff people have to realize, like, you have to knock it out of the park with the service game from the beginning, or this is going to happen. Yeah. Or you have to be free. You have to be free with, like, a lot of these things that come out. So, yeah,
I was going to say, I'm honestly unsure which is going to last longer, or have the bigger failure, this or it's Anthem, like, which is going to die quicker.
Is Anthem even going to make the comeback that it's supposedly doing? That's
no. I mean, they keep saying it will, but no. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that quietly gets like,
they'll say
we just cut our
related.
Losses.
Yeah, they'll say it was COVID related or something, but yeah, the thing's done. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean,
and it should be, like, it wasn't good in the first place. So
yeah, it doesn't surprise it doesn't surprise me. It's just, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just as soon as that game came out, a lot of it was it's buggy and it's not. The story is good, but the stuff that you have to do to progress to the story is not
safe from, like, the corporate mindset. Like, it felt way too corporate owned, and that's the same thing that killed off Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, because, like, no imagination in that game whatsoever. And it's like, why even make it then? Like, but that's just me.
I mean, yeah,
they want to tie everything into the MCU, and it's like, I mean, I understand that impulse, but, like, you gotta have some creativity here and there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's sad that that's the way we have to talk about Avengers, but, yes. There are people that enjoyed that game. I'm not saying that it's a total, failure or whatever, but...
For a little while, me and Jens both liked Anthem, but then we played, like, the last mission, or, like, the last of the story, and it's like, alright, we're done. Like, because, like with Marvel, there's nothing else to do. And, like, the core gameplay isn't endearing enough to, like, make you want to suffer through it more and more.
Yeah. I mean, so, sorry, Avengers fans. That's just how it is with Avengers right now. They're planning a lot of DLC for it, so they're hoping that that's what's gonna,
that'll fix it.
Be the thing, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, at least they had a cool announcement, which kind of got teased by Nomura like last week or a week before that. And it wound up being that there is a sequel to The World Ends With You called Neo, The World Ends With You, which will be on Switch and PS4 summer 2021. It has a different character that I think was in the mobile game, whatever.
I know nothing about this franchise, but I know it's Square, that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's pretty awesome. They've tied it to Kingdom Hearts as well. So, like, I enjoyed the heck out of the first game. I haven't, if it was on something besides the Switch, it probably would have gotten a big sale by now. But because it's on the Switch, it doesn't really get one of those.
It never will. Or the sale price will always be that sale price no matter what.
Yeah, it won't really go down further than that. So I haven't gotten to play around with the remaster on Switch, but apparently it's pretty good. We'll see. The trailer looked awesome. They also announced that the anime is going to be out around April or so, if things keep going well, so we'll see how that all ties in. Knowing Nomura, God, it's going to be appointment viewing, because that's how everything works.
Yep.
With him. But cool, good stuff for that to get announced. It was a nice little surprise there in the middle of the week. So apparently Yuke's and WWE don't have an issue.
Well, Yuke's doesn't have an issue, let's say that.
Well, of course Yuke's is going to say that, right? Like, if something happens with AEW and they wind up having to get back into the WWE game, like, you don't want to burn bridges. It's not necessary, I mean, it does confirm that whole thing of that game that they were working on kind of in secret turned out to be this game, the AEW game. I don't think it started out as an AEW game or anything, but...
No, I'm sure it was just like whatever, either creating wrestlers or like some weird indie Japanese league. And they're like, hey, can you put AJ Styles in here? Or not AJ Styles, can you put Cody Rhodes in here instead? They're like, let's do it.
But yeah, exactly. Let's do it, and they've made it work, so we'll see how that goes. I mean, at least the game will play fine, just... Let's hope they can work out the kinks on the glitches and stuff so it'll be fresh and not having to work on an old engine.
Yeah, well, they're not using that old SmackDown, engine, thank God, or whatever the hell that engine they're working on nowadays.
Well, and then in a surprise, because Grand Theft Auto Online is Grand Theft Auto Online its own game?
No.
Or is that, so Grand Theft Auto Online, the one that makes a lot more money, I think, than Red Dead, is not its own game. But Red Dead Online is, or will be, starting on December 1st, which is not that far away at all. You can pay $5 and get just the online version of Red Dead. So that's cool. I mean, you do need to have 123 gigabytes of disk space.
Everyone has that. I imagine this is because they are porting GTA 5 to the current consoles, like PS5 and Xbox. I don't know if they'll do that for Red Dead. I mean, they may eventually, but, GTA 5 is, like you said, the more popular of it. So, that's probably on the checklist first.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And, they can tie a lot of things in to, if you keep that, like you said, that online together, people have a bigger incentive to want to buy it again on PS5 or Xbox. Yeah. Whereas, I think Red Dead, maybe they want to see if they can get that built around.
Right.
I mean,
I also don't think Red Dead is as important as GTA 5 is, so, we can make some money off this probably. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll do well. I mean, starting at $5 for a game like Red Dead, which a lot of people liked. I mean, it also had the controversy of people not liking it, so, we'll see.
Every game.
Well, I mean, Red Dead just really felt like it had, why are you starting? So... It felt like Red Dead really had this because of it. Well, you didn't particularly like the story that much, right?
No. I mean, I didn't even finish it. I don't like how it controlled though. That was my kind of bigger thing. Is this feels like weird and like too old. I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was really slow, right? Because it wanted to mimic the these being a cowboy thing. Well, I think it's gonna do well. I mean, it's Rockstar. Most of their stuff does.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. But
yeah, I think we'll see a little bit of resurgence once. Plus, knowing Rockstar, they'll put some kind of marketing behind it too, and
or
all of a
they'll
sudden,
have if you buy this, you'll get GTA 5 at a slightly discounted price or something like that.
Wow. Yeah. So I mean, we go from that to something that I didn't know that this was a thing. I thought that all of the players, because and that's the thing is like most American sports, other than say like a Michael Jordan or somebody that I think it's really only been Michael Jordan at this point. I don't know if maybe like LeBron or Kobe or whatever in their eras perhaps got to opt out. But at least for the NFL, the way it works is okay. You're all in the union, and part of that is also you sign off on being using your likeness in the Madden games or whatever. I did not know that FIFA had their own thing of, okay, if you're not part of FIFPro, which is their players, like the Global Players Union, technically they're not really supposed to be in these games. And that's, of course it behooves EA because they're the ones that, lost out with the college football, thing when that thing, went down. And of course they were also very happy when all of a sudden, college football players could use their own likeness to make money, which they could not do for all these other years. And so it looks like FIFA may be going through the same thing. Will EA have to shell out a bunch of money separately to players now? Or will all these players not in FIFPro have to like kind of form their own thing? Or how that's going to happen? But that's, so Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who's a very outspoken player. He plays for AC Milan now, but he's played before with the LA Galaxy. He's played, like all over so many different teams, but this guy is, still at his older age, amazing. And he talked about, like, hey, I'm not part of FIFPro. Why are my rights being sold without my permission? And then of course, Gareth Bale, also tweeted about that, and others. Now 300 different players might consider legal action over being able to use their likeness without permission. And this is basically like, hey, we want to get the money we should earn or figure out something of how we can make sure we're getting the money's worth for this. And I wonder if that's going to cut into EA really being able to have this stranglehold on, because Pro Evolution does fine, but Pro Evolution is really like for the soccer nerds.
Yeah. Because
they don't have all the licenses like, EA does. So I wonder if that will eventually break the
monopoly,
the FIFA license that EA has, or if they really would have to start like basically making creative characters for certain players that decide not to sign on. I mean, that's going to be interesting. I mean, that definitely does affect, I wonder how much effect it would really have, but like, cause eventually those players, move on and don't play anymore. But like, I wonder if this changes the system. Would EA just shell out money to keep everything out of court and just, hey, we're going to keep things the same, but we're going to give you a little bit of money on the extra, or what? But interesting movement here with this. And what it could impact in the future for the FIFA games, FIFA 22 and onward, depending on how long those the court issues go on. Especially if you're having to deal with them in so many different countries, with so many different court systems. With EA being an American company the other day, so we'll see how that goes. And I guess a more surprising thing is Mohammed bin Salam. Charity Foundation is set to take a controlling stake in SNK, which they're gonna pay around 813 million reals, which is 223 million in SNK, which they would take 33.3% stake in the company. Which, I mean, that's interesting. And like, I don't know.
It's like, why does he care about SNK? Like.
Yeah, like, why SNK? I mean, like, so they have worked before. The electronic games development company has worked before to, you know, training programs and like in developing games, but it's just like, are you gonna try to? I mean, SNK has some, you know, okay licenses, or
Yeah.
like, I mean, I love Metal Slug and King of Fighters is cool and all, but I don't know.
They're not the most like popular or most well-known developer in the world.
Yeah, I mean, they used to be, right? They used to be a lot bigger.
Yeah.
But now they're kind of not, because they haven't really made anything new in a long time. They've been just porting their older stuff.
Keep cranking out Metal Slug games, and that's about it.
Metal Slug, and then, you know, the King of Fighters stuff, and they make those like arcade classic stuff for Switch and, well, the other consoles as well. So there's that. I mean, that's interesting. I guess we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah.
Could he decide to do that to make like a play for something else? I mean, I don't see them becoming like the next Tencent or whatever.
He's gonna buy all the Western crap that Square wants to release. Crystal Dynamics and
he could, right? That'd be weird, but sure. What are you gonna do with it?
Yeah.
But yeah, Xbox also got double dose of stuff. 2 of their games are getting delayed. The Cuphead's The Delicious Last Course has been delayed again to sometime in 2021. So obviously due to COVID, they've had to push that back, and as with a lot of things, now it's coming at some point in 2021. And also MechWarrior 5 was gonna release on their Heroes of the Inner Sphere DLC was gonna release on December 10th, but due to Cyberpunk, now they're not. And
yeah, they thought better of that one.
That's the second Microsoft Tinge thing that is going to now be moved from that date because of Cyberpunk. So it was going to. The good thing now is that also now it can release on Xbox, which would make it the first console it's going to be. MechWarrior has been on since I think 2019.
Yeah, I mean, there have been MechWarrior games on console before, but yeah.
Well, I mean, like, okay, so MechWarrior 5 only released on PC for the Epic Games Store, so...
Right.
Like, now it can show up on... At the same time, it'll show up on Xbox and Steam and GOG and whatever, so that's cool.
Yeah.
I know Daniel was playing it when it first came out. He really was enjoying it at the time, so... I mean, that's good. That's another, like, franchise that... I mean, I don't know, really how popular you could say it is, but, I mean, it's a thing that, hey, Microsoft has, that Sony doesn't, but, you know, cool. I like things like that.
Mech games used to be popular, but not anymore.
Yeah, I feel like Zone of the Enders was, you know...
That's, like, slightly more arcadey, but, like, mech simulation game would say that.
I feel like you have to go, like, how long ago was that?
I mean, Armored Core used to be kind of big. That's kind of about it.
Yeah.
Like, it used to be like Mech Assault, and then, like, the one game they made, Steel Battalion.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God. With the huge-ass controller.
Yeah.
It took up, like, an entire room.
Yep.
But, hey, I mean, apparently it was cool if you got to play it and all.
Remember, the two that I can remember failing pretty bad were Hawken.
Oh, yeah, that definitely.
And that Armored Core sequel, like spiritual successor, I forget the name of it. It was a 360 game where it was like very online focused, and then they shut down the multiplayer of the server, so there's nothing else to do. Like you couldn't actually play it anymore, and it's like that's neat.
Yeah, not a decision there.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, interesting time. I mean, we are getting into that, you know, Christmas time, so everybody. Still gonna be going around trying to get those consoles. Please don't overpay. I know there's a lot of parents that don't care, and all they care about is making their kid happy, whatever, but you're not helping anyone. You overpay these scalpers that are charging 2 and 3 times the price for PS5 and Series X, all that. Your kid can also wait. I know they're gonna be disappointed, but you can explain to them that these things are just ridiculous right now. Well, I mean, depending on the age. I mean, it's like, also, there's a certain age where it's just like, man, these consoles can do so many things now. It's like, should you really be buying that for like an 8-year-old? Or, I mean, I don't know.
Leave it to the 34-year-olds. Did you see, there was some weird Twitter post about, this was like a week ago, about like, this woman going like, I don't know why adults are into video games. They should be doing something more productive with their time.
Yeah, I replied to that tweet, and it got me the highest number of likes I've ever had. It was like at 400 something. The lady said, I wonder how these like adults feel about taking away these systems from kids at Christmas. And basically, yeah, that you're babies for liking video games or whatever at the age you are, saying it another way. And then everybody responded with, you know, like, hey, it's my money, I can spend it how I want. And I just threw, you know, there's a lot of stats out there that prove that video game players the average age is like in their 30s, and even people in their 40s and 50s are playing games because they grew up with them. Yep. So it's not a kids thing anymore. And like a lot of kids are, you know, like Anaya, they're watching people on YouTube play a game for them, or they're playing stuff like Roblox or Fortnite or stuff on mobile or stuff on tablet. They're not necessarily like going out there and playing the consoles and all that stuff. That is largely also why, even though yes, we have a huge infrastructure problem, it's not going to happen right now, but perhaps in 10, 20 years, we will be just having a controller connected to a TV, and that's your game. That's your entire system. It's all there streaming, or you can download it to something, but you don't require a console for it. You just, it's there, you know, and like the generation of today is getting used to that. Like they're playing things on, you know, on their phones, on their tablets, on computer that is not these mega AAA games. I mean, Fortnite is a mega game, but it's like things that are accessible, highly accessible, you know, so I do think that there's something to be said of it's just gaming's for everyone, and like the kids are almost at the point where it's like it's so not traditional that it's fun to think about, like how crazy and expansive games have gotten. That is such a terrible take to have nowadays. It's like it doesn't work anymore. Like when we were young, you definitely could say that. Right. You know, if you were my brother's age, well, my brother's only 8 years older than me, but okay, like if you were my dad's age, when, you know, I was around the time where I could play games, you definitely were a kid. You were like immature. You were, you know, if you're sitting there playing games and whatever, but so many different people play them. It's all down to, if it's not something that you need to do for a reason, it's all about, you know, having some modicum of like, don't be sitting there all day playing that if you're not, you know, find other things to do along with that. But yeah, I mean, spend your money how you want to spend it. It's weird that you still have, I mean, you can be mad all you want, but it has nothing to do with these adults. It has to do with the scalpers and all the people that are buying these up to then sell them. It's all the adults trying to like make money, you know, which is what she probably wants. Right. I mean, and also like, I mean, to an extent, I can understand during this pandemic, but I think most of the people that are showing those pictures with 100, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 consoles, in one shot, those are people that's what they do. Like, it's not people that are just saying, oh, I'm doing this to make a buck because I have no other job. This is people that have made this their job. Yeah. And they've made the bots to make it work and everything else. And it sucks. I hate the fact that, you know, the retailers won't do anything because the sale's a sale. But it would be nice to not have to deal with machines, when you're trying to just buy a console, you know, online. It's already hard enough against the people. You don't need, to fight against the freaking bot. It is what it is. Well, I think that's, pretty much it for this week. We'll, be back again on the next week, and hopefully if you like what you heard, you can hit that subscribe button, and anytime we do a show, we'll be here in your feeds. It's almost getting that game of the year time. We probably, if we're gonna do the podcast one, we'll probably do it like more towards at least a week later than we normally do, to get everybody time to play Cyberpunk and Immortals Phoenix Rising and all that, because normally the cutoff is like that first week of December, because normally that's like the last week that stuff comes out, but Cyberpunk's kind of delayed that, and you know, that being such a huge game, we'll see how quickly people can get through it. Did you see that report of a dev is 175 hours in and still not close to done.
Yeah.
That's insane. But yeah, well, we'll see how that goes. And until next week, everybody, enjoy your games and hopefully you had a good holiday. Later, everyone.
Later.